All right, if you just look up MMA, if you Google mixed martial arts or you Google Hamzat Chimaev, you're going to see one thing. That's Hamzat Chimaev, sick, looking like he's pretty much on his deathbed, okay? He came out, he posted on Instagram or Twitter that he was feeling very sick, and the pictures of him, they're really bad. They're really concerning. His eyes are bloodshot. He's laid in a hospital bed. He's got a ventilator mask on. He's giving it the thumbs up because he's an absolute warrior, but he's not in a good place, okay? And I wish him all the best for one. And this isn't the first time that we've seen Hamzat Chimaev sick. Remember, back in 2020, he got COVID, or long COVID, I think they call it, and he temporarily retired from the sport. But he came back and he's continued his undefeated streak, 13-0, 7-0 in the UFC. And of course, last time out was against Kamaru Usman. Going into that fight, he was guaranteed that if he beat Kamaru Usman, he was going to fight for the middleweight strap. Now, that didn't happen because he tore a ligament in his hand, or partially tore it, and he's had to take some time out. Now, of course, the return is delayed even further because of this sickness. And here's the statement that he had. He said, "I was very sick. My hand was injured, so I couldn't fight right away. I want to tell all of the fountains." I know English isn't his first language, so I don't think he meant fountains. Maybe that was autocorrect, or maybe I'm missing something. Maybe in Chechnya, you tell fountains. Maybe you speak to fountains, I don't know. But he wants to tell all of the fountains, "I want to see myself in battle more than all of you. I love this job. I will do and prove that I am the best, as I always do, and I will be back soon to inshallah, training. God willing, he'll be back to training soon, okay? And I certainly hope so, because the sport of mixed martial arts is a better place with people like Hamzat Chimaev involved. He does have a bit of the bad guy persona. Remember when he missed weight against Nate Diaz, came in about 7 pounds over, okay, and then he flipped the bird to everyone. People didn't like that. And then he went out there and fought Kevin Holland. They went to high five. He shot a double leg and then finished him via Doris very, very quickly. But so what? When the referee says fight, you got to fight, and you got to be ready for everything. Now, who's he going to fight when he comes back, right? Well, he was guaranteed a title fight, so one would think that he gets the winner between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. That's a really close fight, okay? It's a very, very entertaining and intriguing fight. I think Dricus has the bigger power. I think he's got the better wrestling. I think Sean has the better jiu-jitsu, even though we don't see it. And of course, the confidence will be sky high right now. And the reason I'm bringing up confidence is because as a fighter, you need confidence. And going out there, beating Israel Adesanya at his own game, beating him on the feet 4 or 5 rounds, almost finish him in the first round. First of all, that's going to solidify that he does have real power in his hands. And of course, he knows he's good enough to compete with one of the best kickboxers on the planet. So, Dricus versus Sean, this isn't a prediction. We're talking about Hamzat Chimaev. I think he should get the winner of that next. That would be amazing to see. 13-0, undefeated. He deserves it. 7 fights in a row. And beating people like Kamaru Usman last time out, right? The former pound-for-pound #1 on the planet and the long-time welterweight king. Hamzat Chimaev has earned it. He's been in the UFC now since 2023. We're now getting into the 4th year. And as I say, 7 fights, 7 wins. But he's looking bad. He is not looking good. I'm looking at these pictures now. His face is really, really puffy. You know, granted, he hasn't been training. He's had a bad hand. He's sick. It's been the holidays. He's had a little time away. I don't think he drinks alcohol. His face looks like I look sometimes when I've had a mad bender, right? And the bloodshot eyes as well. I've had a few bloodshot eyes after a heavy one, but not that bad. Not the state of these. I mean, his eyes are bad. His face is, he's got the ventilator mask on. I don't know what the issue is. He didn't go into details. And he actually deleted the post afterwards. So generally, I wouldn't talk about this. But if you just Google his name, as I said at the start of the video, all the news sites, they're running with this story. They're talking about it, of course, because they need something to talk about. And so do I, right? So I'm not talking shit. Hamzat, I wish you all the best, my brother. I really do. Heal up, get better, get back in the octagon where you belong. Now, other stories that you might see when you Google mixed martial arts right now is, of course, Francis Ngannou's coach, Eric Nixig, he said that when he got paid for his fight against Tyson Fury, that payment changed his life. And it actually brought him to tears when he saw the amount of money in his bank account. So well done to Eric Nixig. The man's a fantastic coach. He deserves all of that. So it's lovely to see. What else have we got here? Paddy Pimblett, he's stacking on the weight big time. Obviously, he just beat Tony Ferguson, okay? Not the showing probably that he was looking for. And what I mean by that, he beat Tony Ferguson. He did, fair and square. I don't think that was up for debate whatsoever. Tony's lost 7 in a row. I would suggest that Tony probably needs to retire. But Paddy kind of got tired in that fight, so he's got to work on that conditioning a little bit. But he's been enjoying Christmas. My God, has he ever, because he's back to what everyone calls Paddy the Fatty, right? So what? The man's enjoying himself, okay? And so far, he's made weight every single time. So leave the man alone. It's Christmas, right? He's been enjoying, he's been indulging, he's been on the pies. God knows what he's been doing. I don't think Paddy's the biggest drinker, so he hasn't been on the ale too much. And another story that was doing the rounds that you might have seen was the one with Tyron Woodley. I don't want to talk about that. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not talking about leaked sex tapes, right? We saw a lot of memes, you know, stuff like the best head movement we've seen from Tyron Woodley in a long time, and then stuff like, you know, it's nice to see Tyron back to dominating his opponents and stuff like that. But hey, whatever. Listen, I don't know the details on that. I haven't seen the video either, and I don't want to. Now, as we know, 2024 has just started, so there's going to be lots of great fights. And one fight that I actually want to see that's been called for by Josh Emmett, who just brutally, talking of UFC 296, brutally knocked out Bryce Mitchell. I mean, my God, we need to talk about that real quick. That right hand that Josh Emmett hit Bryce Mitchell with was just utterly ridiculous. It was disgusting. The way Bryce Mitchell fell face first on the octagon, and then Josh Emmett, being such a nice guy, didn't follow up. And you might have saw Bryce Mitchell came out afterwards, and he was so great.
I want to let y'all know that I'm so happy with Josh Emmett. Right after he knocked me out, he could have followed up with the hammer fist, and it probably would have killed me. He didn't even follow up with anything. You know, he was just happy with his knockout, and he walked away. And I'm so gracious for that. I will forever remember that. Thank you for not hitting me extra, Josh.
And I thought that was so humble of Bryce Mitchell as well, to come out here, speak to everybody and say how grateful he was that he didn't follow up, you know, like Dan Henderson did to me. But hey, all's fair in love and war, and got to defend yourself at all times, even if you're unconscious. But Josh Emmett now is making a call out that not many people do. I am, of course, talking about Max Holloway. He's called out Max Holloway because he sees no better way of getting a title shot than beating Max Holloway. And he's probably right, because if you think about it, Alexander Volkanovski is the champ. Ilia Topuria is undefeated. They're going to fight soon, and that's going to be brilliant. Outside of that, Max Holloway beats everybody not called Alexander Volkanovski, pushing back contender after contender. I mean, look at the performance he had against Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen was on an 11-fight win streak, I think it was at the time. And Max Holloway once again got the job done, proving that he's still elite and he's still not slowing down. So Josh Emmett calls out Max Holloway. Number one, what a fan-friendly fight that would be. Of course, Josh would have the power advantage, but the skill, the finesse, the speed, the range, and the experience all favors Max Holloway. So I respect Josh Emmett for calling him out. And he's absolutely right. Josh is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He really is. He's an absolute class act. We saw that when he didn't follow up against Bryce Mitchell. And he deserves what he's working for, right? He wants that title fight. Calling out Max Holloway. I hope the UFC make that booking, because that makes all the sense in the world. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're well. I hope your 2024 is getting off to a good start. If you've made any New Year's resolutions, I hope you're sticking to them. Me personally, drinking less, doing good. I haven't had a drink all week. I feel absolutely phenomenal. I'm getting in the ice bath every day. I'm saunaing every day. I'm working out. But one simple little thing that I'm doing is that when I wake up, I get out of bed. Simple as that. Now, that sounds obvious, but my wife is so kind. Every morning she gets up, she makes me a coffee and brings it to bed. Then she makes me another coffee, and I sit in bed and have 2 coffees. I do my emails, I scroll social media, I see what I'm going to talk about on the podcast and on YouTube and stuff like that. And I basically procrastinate, look at the news, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm out of bed. 6 a.m. every morning, I'm downstairs, I have my coffee on the couch, and then I get after it. So wherever you are in the world, hope you're doing well. Have a great 2024, and I'll be back tomorrow tomorrow with another video. So subscribe, ring the bell, or search the Michael Bisping YouTube channel. Take care, guys. All the best.